We're talking with Jeff Semon, who is running for the Massachusetts 5th District House of Representatives. And boy, it's quite a liberal state there. It's a big blue state. As a good conservative Republican, how do you think you're going to fare there?
I think I'm going to fare very well. It has the reputation of being a very blue state. While there are quite a few liberals and liberal Democrat politicians and government leaders in the state, the actual population, the folks out there, are pretty conservative, especially when it comes to fiscal matters. And what I'm offering is fiscal sanity, as opposed to the craziness that we have in Washington, balancing our budget, spending less, lower taxes, lower regulations, so folks in the real world can actually get jobs instead of getting the false promise of a government handout.
Well, and that's just the thing, too. We need jobs. We've seen millions of people dropping out, actually, of the job market. Hard to believe, but it seems to be happening. And this has tended to make Obama's picture of claiming to have created jobs more rosy than it should be.
No, absolutely. I mean, it goes even beyond Barack Obama. I'm running against Ed Markey, who was elected the year I was born in 1976. I'm going to be turning 36 in this election. That's 36 years of entrenched bad policies. He's a gentleman who has never held a real job, is clueless about how jobs are created in the real world, and is the definition of a career politician. So we need real-world common sense experience. I've been in business for over 14 years. I went to business school. There's a distinct difference between common sense conservative principles and what the Democratic Party has to offer, and people are going to have that clear choice at the ballot box this year.
Well, and that's absolutely the byword of the day is business. I mean, your former governor, Mitt Romney, I assume you remember him when he was in office. He touts his business credentials, and you yours, and that is certainly something that we really should be looking for at this point in a time when this economy is just so bad. But of course, America isn't just an economy. We have other things going on, and one of the other things that Barack Obama has done, which has shocked America right at this time, is this whole business with abortion and forcing Catholics to go against their religious principle. If you were a senator, what exactly would you do in these? Or I'm sorry, if you were in the House of Representatives, what exactly would you do on this level?
Well, the recent decision by HSS comes right out of Obamacare, and Obamacare needs to be repealed, because if it is not, it is going to become so entrenched, we'll never get rid of it, and it is going to crush our economy and drive us off the cliff with our deficit and debt spending. I'm a Catholic. I found it personally offensive that somehow the government can tell a private religious organization what to do, but it goes beyond just being a religious issue. It's a First Amendment issue. We have to start waking up to the fact that government, by its very nature, is going to try to tell us what to do, but it can't, because we have a constitution that says the individual is sovereign, and that individual liberty is paramount to the collective. And there's a distinct difference that the Democratic Party is offering in 2012 and the Republican Party is offering in 2012. We want to return to those constitutional principles that founded this country, that made this country great. And that is not going to happen if we continue to elect politicians like Ed Markey in my district and Barack Obama, re-electing him back to the White House. A lot of folks out there may not realize that men like Ed Markey and his terrible policies are affecting everybody throughout the country. It's not just Massachusetts. He's tried to block the subpoenas to investigate Solyndra. He's actively trying to stop liquid natural gas exports or natural gas exports so we can start having other countries send us their wealth rather than us constantly sending our wealth overseas for energy. He's blocking the Keystone XL pipeline. And all of this is terrible, terrible policies that affects everyday Americans, hardworking Americans that just want to take care of their family and do what's best for them. But there are a select few that are preventing that from happening. And we need a representation in Washington that understands common sense principles, that has been in the real world, that knows how to operate a budget, that knows how jobs are created, and career politicians like Ed Markey do not. So I would love for your audience to go to jeffin2012.com, get us on, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Any financial support they can give would be fantastic. A lot of $25 donations are going to make a real difference in this election.
Well, speaking of a real difference, one last question here. I've mentioned this to several other candidates, but one of the biggest problems is, of course, we've abdicated, a lot of our legislators have abdicated their responsibility to do their job to the courts. Is this something that you've thought about?
Well, there's a reason that our founders were so brilliant in their original documents in drawing up our Constitution. Separate co-equal branches of government has led to the prosperity and the success in having for generations of why folks from other countries wanted to come here. And the Congress has ceded way too much power to the executive. The judicial branch has taken way too much power. There's been interpretations of the Constitution that were never meant to take place, and the founders would be saying, the Commerce Clause doesn't cover everything under the sun. You need to, there is a strict distinction between what the judicial branch can do, what the legislative branch can do, and what the executive branch can do. So we need to return to those principles, and the founders recognized that very fast change wasn't a good thing, and we wanted to have a slow, evolving process in our legislation, not an immediate gratification, so to speak. And with President Obama and Nancy Pelosi passing 2,000-page bills without reading it, saying it must be done now, it must be done now. I mean, these are false choices.
Pass it so we know what's in it.
Yeah, these are these false choices that the Democratic Party keeps promoting and getting out there to the population, but they're just flat out wrong. I mean, there's a distinct difference between what we as Republicans are offering compared to what Democrats are, and we need to return back to those constitutional principles that helped found this country and make it the greatest country on planet Earth.
Well, that's a great way to end. Mr. Semon, good luck in the Massachusetts 5. Give us your website one more time.
jeffin2012.com.
Thanks very much.
Thanks.